It's not another junior college D1 that has 8 banners hanging. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be sloppy. But if you're just playing hard and growing, then that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But it was a great place. I mean, Coach Stillman gave us an experience of a lifetime, and he's still part of my life now in my coaching journey and just in my everyday life. And so I would like to be the fly on the wall.
She was like, okay. She called. I went on a visit. Yeah.
But you have to be able to have conversations.
Certain things that y'all are doing in the gym, like what does a championship team look like?
Well, first of all, the gym has to be loud.
Welcome to It's Just Different podcast, where we bring on people who have been where you're trying to go and or have helped countless athletes. And y'all, I got another one. I'm not going to even memorize it. I'm going to read it because my girl is just a winner. That's just what I'm going to say. She is a winner. 126 and 20 over the last 5 years. Have put over 35 plus athletes in Division I school, have been in 2 national championship games, 4-time NJCAA tournament appearances, 2 of them was runner-up, 1 Elite 8, 2-time Region Coach of the Year, and the list can continue to go on and on. I got Coach P in the building at Trinity Valley. How you feeling?
I'm good. About to get it started on year 6. Had some scrimmages yesterday, saw some good things, saw some bad things, but the best part about it is it's early.
Yeah.
It's only October, and you got to be playing your best basketball in late March and early April.
Yeah. Who did y'all play yesterday? Arizona?
Western Arizona and Garden City, I want to say. 2 really good programs.
I was just going to say, they put y'all some heat.
They did. I thought they did a good job of just being all over the place, being energetic, being chaotic, you know. And this time of year, that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be sloppy. But if you're just playing hard and growing, then that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's a fact. I always start this podcast off with what's different. The name of the podcast is Just Different Podcast. I think the game of basketball is just different, whether that's good or bad. You know, I think it's some good and it's also some bad. What do you think is different as it relates to JUCO now versus back then?
Junior college back then used to be a holding place for, I will say not every JUCO. Trinity Valley used to be a holding place for young ladies that went off to the Division I colleges and then wanted to transfer. So they needed a holding spot to play for 1 year so they didn't have to sit. Well, obviously with the portal, that's changed.
Yeah.
It's made it a lot different. And so now we are trying to more so get into the freshmen, the high school seniors, which would now be freshmen for us. We're trying to get better kids from just high schools.
Yeah.
And so that's a big difference. We do kind of have a couple transfers still, but you're not getting those top elite transfers like you used to get back in the day.
Yep. So do you prefer to go after high school athletes first, or does it really?
I would like a happy mix. Like I said, I have a happy mix this year, and although there weren't the quote unquote top transfers, I think just having that Division I experience and bringing that to the junior college for the freshmen that I did recruit, I think that's major. They just bring a different mindset, and they've also been in the environment of a Division I program, so they know what it takes. So they're hungry to get back to that environment, and then they also can share those experiences with their new teammates. So it's really good for us in practice.
Yeah. Now, I read off a little bit, and I went fast. At the end of the day, you've been winning, all right? You know how to win, and you went to Trinity Valley. You've come into a winning program, I would say.
Correct.
How have you been able to maintain that winning culture?
Like you just said, it's a culture. It's a tradition, and so I'm just blessed to, first of all, even be the head coach there, right? But it's a standard, and you got to know the standard coming into it. And even as an assistant, when I first got there, the man that brought me in, he taught me that standard really quickly. And it's you win. You win or you got to go.
That's it.
There's no special formula. You win or you got to go. And we just day in and day out do the things that's necessary to get better and to play at a different pace.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows that Trinity Valley is going to be 94 feet of some type of hell, chaotic, whatever. Whether it's man-to-man, whether it's a zone press, but it's going to be 94 feet. And so I just kept that same tradition. If it's not broke, you don't fix it. You just continue to get the same type of kids in there to fit your mold. And although you bring different kids in every year because it's a junior college, so some years you might bring in 5, some years you might bring in 10. This past year I brought in 10, you know,
10,
and so 10 new faces.
wow.
And so that's why it's so important to get kids that fit what you do at Trinity Valley, because you don't want that too big of a learning curve.
Yeah.
Right? You have to teach them college basketball because it's a little different. But they got to already have dog. They got to already have an instinct to press and an instinct to just be a dog, you know? And so if I can find kids that come in with that mentality, then it's easy to get them into what we do.
Yeah.
And so obviously they just have to trust the process, because each kid on my team probably was the best
Yeah.
on their high school team. So trying to get them to all come together every year, that's where the trust in the process comes in.
Yeah.
Because everybody was the man. You
Yeah.
know, and so just being at Trinity Valley, like you said, it is a culture, it is a tradition, but you just have to continuously bring in the type of kid
Yeah.
that fits the mold. And then as a coach, you have to continue to stay on your course.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to waver, you don't want to change. You got to be true to who you are.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of the times your kids take on the head coach's mentality.
That is a fact.
And if anybody knows me, they know I'm feisty. I get after it. I'm a grinder. And so in order to play for me, you have to be those things as well. And I might not always get the same feistiness, but by the time I'm done with them, they have it.
Yeah.
So, again, it's just them trusting the process.
Yeah, no, that's good. Now, you're at Trinity Valley, but obviously you didn't start there. Talk about your coaching journey for a second.
I started out in West Texas. I coached a year in my GA time at Wayland Baptist.
Okay.
And if anybody knows old tradition basketball, Wayland Baptist, the Flying Queens, they were the Yukons back in the day.
History of winning.
History, you know. And so when you start with a good foundation, you normally have a pretty good house, right? And so my foundation was started good there with Coach Torrey Bryant. And then from there, I moved on to TJC, which is now my down the street competitor, you know, a rivalry game all the time. And I was there for 5 years. And after that, I left and went Division I for 2 years. And I had a great experience there under Donna Finney. I learned a lot there as well, just like I did at TJC under Coach Howard. But after leaving Trinity Valley, leaving Houston Baptist, now Houston Christian, I came back to Trinity Valley as an assistant. And although I got questioned a little bit about leaving a Division I, going back to a junior college, but I'm a junior college product. Yeah. And so I have a different heart for it. I feel like at this level, I can connect with the kids on a more of a personal level, and I can leave a better impact on their life on and off the floor. At the D1 level, it's more of a business, and I'm not really into this for a business. I don't like transactional relationships, and on that level, I felt like that's what it was more so. Yeah. You know, and so coming back to a junior college, it was a home feeling for me, you know. And Trinity Valley has always been one of those places where when you played against them, because I did play in the league, you're in awe with them. And so being able to be a part of that has just been exceptional for me.
Yeah. Now, you said you're a JUCO product yourself. Same. I played at South Plains Junior College.
San Jack over here.
Yeah. So in San Jack, obviously, there is no more San Jack.
Correct, which is crazy to me.
How did that make you feel? Like, just...
You know, the things we did there, because we had a pretty good little run while I was there under Coach Seelman.
Have come out.
Absolutely, on the men's and the women's side. It was very heart-touching when they did shut down. And at the time, a buddy of mine was coaching there. And just to know that the hard work that myself and all the other ladies put in was just being locked away in the vault, if you will, due to funding. And then I don't know if many people know this, but San Jack has several campuses. And so each campus had a different team. Like the men and women weren't even on the same campus. The men were at one campus and we were at a different campus. And on our campus, it was us and baseball.
When you say different campus, like...
So our campus was in East Houston.
Okay.
The men were in Pasadena. And they had volleyball with them, you know, and so they were the Ravens, we were the Gators.
Interesting.
You know, and then soccer was on a different, and soccer and softball was on a different campus. And so people don't know that. And in my opinion, I always thought they should just bring it all together. Yeah. Because, I mean, each program had good opportunities to be good, but trying to stretch out monies and fundings and things like that, I think is kind of some of the reason that it dwindled away. But it was a great place. I mean, Coach Stillman gave us an experience of a lifetime, and he's still part of my life now in my coaching journey and just in my everyday life. And so you just build relationships at the junior college level that I think are just different.
Yeah.
You know, they're just different.
It's the name of this podcast.
I know that's right.
Now, I think Trinity Valley is a little different, but for the most part, and again, I'm gonna always say this, I feel like people sleep on JUCO.
For sure.
Like, people
sure.
sleep on JUCO, and I think it's for a lot of reasons. I've said this in a podcast. Before I went to South Plains, I knew nothing about JUCO.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, let me change that. I thought it was for people that wasn't smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I graduated top 10% of my class. And at the end of the day, I thought it was for people that wasn't that good. You know, and that's because I didn't know nothing about it. You know, and I went to Duncanville. I played with DFW Elite. I had a lot of schools recruiting me. I tore my ACL my junior year, and those schools went away at the end of the day. And I still had a few Division I offers, but I knew that I could play in the Big 12. That has always been my dream. And it wasn't like, oh, I think I can play. Like,
Right.
those schools were recruiting me
Right.
in the Big 12. Honestly, everybody except for Texas. And I remember talking to Coach Mudd, and that was my AAU coach.
Coach Mudd.
Hey, Coach Jackson, R.I.P. Coach Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember talking to him, and he called me Ash Mama. And he was like, Ash Mama. Before that, people were saying go JUCO, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Right.
But he was like, Ash Mama, I really think you need to go JUCO, get your knee stronger, and then I promise you'll be in Big 12. You'll be in Big 12.
That's big.
You know, and I was like, you know what?
We missing the Coach Mudds these days.
Tell
we
me
missing
about
them.
it.
The realest. You know, for sure.
Like
For
somebody
sure.
who actually cared about the kids. Not saying people don't now, but like actually cared about the kids, actually vouched for the kids. Like you said, a real one.
A real
Gonna
one.
tell you the truth. Don't care if it's gonna hurt your feelings.
Because you're going to be all right in the end.
Because you're gonna be all right in the end. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Man, I miss Coach Mudd. But yeah, he told me, and I was like, you know what? I'ma look. Sheryl Swoops was my favorite player.
I know that's right. South
I
Plains
said,
it is.
Man. And
South Plains it is then.
Listen, so I seen she went to South Plains. Prish, I didn't know nothing about South Plains, nothing. I went into Coach Self's office, and I said, I want to go to South Plains.
She probably looked at you like, what?
She did. She said, first of all, she was like, what do you mean? I was like,
Why?
I want to go to South Plains. Sheryl Swoops went there, and I need
That's what I
another
wanna do.
year. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
That's what I told her. I said, can you call the coach? She was like, she was confused. She was like, okay.
I can only imagine that conversation. I would like to be the fly on the
Man,
wall.
She was like, okay. She called. I went on a visit. They had a workout. I worked out. They offered. I didn't take no other I didn't do nothing. I said, I'm going there.
That's it.
That was it.
I love this time.
Didn't even really know. And they had some other players like Ashley Frazier. She went to Duncanville. They had some good players that went D1. But I was just like, Sheryl Swoops went there.
Let's
I'm
go.
going there. So I went, and again, I just went because Sheryl Swoops. But before that, Lovato, I tell this story all the time. Lovato was at Grayson. She was at Grayson, and she was coming up to Duncanville every other day. And I was telling my mom and my dad, if this lady don't stop trying to talk to me.
She is a dog at that recruiting stuff, man. She is.
And I wasn't giving her the time of the day.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Consistent.
It was a no. It was a absolutely no. And I was like, they probably not going to be good. She a new coach there.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, they beat us.
Did? They were
Whole
good.
roster, I mean, Florida State,
Yeah.
UTEP. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you name it.
Yeah.
They all went somewhere. And I go back to that of saying, like, again, I didn't have no knowledge of it. I just was like, I'm not doing it. And I think still to this day, that's how a lot of people are. You know?
It is. It's definitely just like that to this day. And no matter how much tradition we have at Trinity Valley, with the 8 national championships, with the countless number of Division I athletes, pros, whether it was WNBA or overseas, it is still a struggle to get people to understand that it can be a trampoline for you to just jump to where you want to go. It doesn't necessarily have to be a hindrance because, I mean, like you just said, you were top 10 in your class. I was too.
Yeah.
You know, and so you don't have to be quote unquote not smart.
Right.
It's just somewhere to stop, to build you up, to get you to where you want to be, to get you further ahead when you get to that next 4-year school.
Yep.
And so that is a lot of what our conversations are about with parents, with coaches, high school and AAU, and even with the student athlete, just trying to get them to understand that this isn't a negative thing.
Yes.
This can be one of the most positive things you do for yourself. And it's a self-decision that you can't listen to the outside noise when you're making that decision.
That's it right
and
there.
you're looking at the social media. You're looking at where your friends are going. You're looking at what your such and such is telling you. But a lot of the times your friend that went to wherever school, they sit on the bench.
Sitting there.
And you're at this JUCO and you're playing a lot of minutes. And there's no experience like game time minutes. We can drill, we can practice for hours, days, weeks, months. But if you don't get in the game, it's tough to figure it out. And so I tell my kids all the time, especially when I'm trying to get those transfers in, you need game time experience.
You need game time.
And what I think I do well as a coach is I put you where you need to be. In other words, in front of coaches to see you.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be playing against other Division I kids when they leave JUCO. You're going to be playing in jamborees like yesterday where there's 100+ coaches.
Yep.
You know, we're going to travel to take you to different regions so different sets of coaches can see you. You're going to practice every day like a Division I athlete. You're going to carry yourself every day like a Division I athlete. You're going to go to class and have the grades to get you to be a Division I athlete. We're going to do all those things. So don't hinder yourself trying to go D1 like your friend.
Yeah.
And she's sitting on the bench twirling the towel, and you over here getting buckets, possibly about to win a national championship.
Absolutely. Now, how do you get, and obviously you having those conversations, but you know, like I know, sometimes they go in one ear and out the other.
Absolutely.
How do you get that buy-in, or do you even battle with that if it is a kid that you really want, but at the end of the day, it's that blockage of JUCO? Like, how do you manage that? How do you battle with that?
There is no management. You just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in the ring every day.
Yep.
If I get knocked out, I have to get back up. You know, I just can't stop swinging, and I can't just quit. I can't throw the towel in. I have to just continue to be who I am and represent the program to the best of my ability and continue to do what we do, because at some point, the stats are the stats. You know, and if you can't buy into that, then it's unfortunate for you, honestly,
Yes.
because somebody's going to tell me yes. And it may not be the exact kid I want, but the way I pull out of the kid what I know they have inside, they're going to give me exactly what I wanted out the other kid.
Yeah.
It just may be a little harder for me to get it out. You
Yeah.
know, might have to teach them a little more. But as a coach, you are a teacher. So if that means I got to teach a little longer, then I just have to teach a little longer.
Yeah.
And I think as a coach, if you're not teaching, that's when things aren't going to be successful for you. And you got to also be still learning as a coach. I can guarantee you, Dawn Staley don't say she know everything.
Right.
She's still making herself better too. Because if we're asking these kids to be better every day, be 2 feet in, pay attention, trust the process, watch film, learn your opponent, we have to do the same as a coach. We have to lead by example. And so as I'm talking to these kids, I'm only giving them facts. I could care less what the team to the left of me is doing, the right of me, above me, behind me, wherever. I can only look forward and look at what we're doing here. You know, and so I spend a lot of time just selling our program and what we can do for you as a person, as a player, you know, because at some point that ball gonna stop bouncing, and it's bigger than basketball. So you got to be able to survive in today's society. You're gonna have to get a job. You have to be on time to work. You have to know how to dress when you go to work. So when we're saying don't wear Crocs to class, or if we're saying 10 minutes early means you're on time, it's because you have to have that stuff when you stop playing basketball. And so I really, really, really try to talk to the parents about those things, because as a parent, that should be important to you.
Right.
You know, and then the academic side of things, we really pour into our kids academically. And so some coaches will just use you for your talent. They don't care if you graduate or not.
Don't care.
Oh, well, you should have went to class. But as a coach, what were you doing to make sure that kid got to class, to make sure that kid was surviving in class, if that kid needed any help? And so my staff and I think we do an amazing job of making sure these kids get graduated. I think in my 6 years, or 5, going into 6, graduation rate is like 98%.
That's
you know,
good.
and I'm thinking of one person that didn't graduate. It was a choice. because when I got her in, she was a transfer. She needed a couple more classes to get finished, and she just was like, I'm good, coach. We were willing to get those classes for her, but she was just, I'm good. Her and her mom just made that decision.
Yeah.
So there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
But if she makes the decision to stay, we're at 100%, because we care about them graduating. Because if you graduate from us, it's easier when you get to the next level. We teach you the study skills and all that kind of stuff that you need.
Right.
And then they're graduating from their 4 years as well.
Yeah.
And so that's bigger than the national championship game, but obviously the national championship game plus the academics is what's keeping our jobs.
Absolutely. You talking that talk. I'm just saying. You really talking. I want to talk to these 25s real quick. What advice would you give to a 25 right now, whether that's the parent and or the kid that's looking to find a home?
Well, first of all, you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the advice, really.
No, for real, that's it. That's it, drop the mic. But if we are in almost November and you still don't have that phone call you're looking for, you're probably not going to get it. Because these D1s talk to those 25s back in 23.
Yep.
In 22 and 21. So you have to be realistic. And that's why junior college would be so good for those type of kids.
Yeah.
Even if you are averaging 17 and you don't understand why such and such is not calling you, because they don't have a need for you. And you have to go where there is a need. Some kids might be getting a phone call, but it might be that once a week check-in phone call.
Absolutely.
We know about that.
Yep.
And if that's what you're getting, then you might want to look elsewhere. Because those priority kids, they getting hit up every day or every other day by several coaches on the staff, by the head coach. So if you're 25 and you're still out there, you need to duck your head and get to work.
Yeah.
Get on the grind. Because it's something that you're missing that you haven't realized, which is why you're still open.
Yeah.
And sometimes going JUCO helps you get that something that you're missing, And so if you can't come to that realization, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in March, when that portal opened up, still looking. So they need to jump on some of these junior colleges or even D2s, whoever is talking to you right now. Be realistic with yourself. It's not about the division. It's about the impact you can make on the program.
Yep. One thing I always say is D-free.
D-free. Baby, free.
D-free.
Mama has no bill. Daddy don't have to worry about a bill. And I love that D-free. I'm using that one.
I say it all the time, and I talk to kids a lot. And the one thing that I just hate, honestly, is when I'm talking to these kids and it's like, oh, they sleeping on me, or I could be going to this school.
You sleep.
And that's it. You sleeping
You
on
sleep.
yourself.
You sleep.
You sleeping on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have these conversations with these kids, and as I'm talking to them, come to find out, they got 2 and 3 and 4 offers, but it's from JUCOs or it's from D2, and it's like, oh, I want D1. And it's like, why won't you go? Some of these JUCOs, Trinity Valley, is better than some D1s.
So I tell my team that all the time. I'll take my top 8 and go play a D1 in a minute. And sometimes we'll do that. Sometimes we can scrimmage Division Ones, and honestly, in my last couple of years, none of them have told me yes, because they don't want that burden.
It's a reason.
And so I actually enjoy doing that. For one, I'm putting them on a campus where Division I can see them, and then 2, it gives them a measuring stick. If you couldn't get your shot off while we play University of such and such, you need to get back in the lab.
Exactly.
And then these 25s come to a JUCO and do a workout. I bet you're going to see, you might not be as good as the kids that are there. But I think that the parents have to realize and say, hey, baby, mama love you, but let's go ahead and entertain this option. Just give it a try. Go on a visit. Like I said, ask for a workout. You might end up liking it.
And I want to stay on the workout part.
Y'all been asking, and we got it. The online store is available. We got sweatshirts, we got t-shirts, we got tights, we got shorts, we got headbands. We got it all. Make sure you check out the online store at itsjustdifferentapparel.com. and use code podcast to get 10% off.
Can athletes actually do that? Like, can they come to a practice and actually work out?
Yes, they can. I try not to work athletes out though while they're in season.
Yes, good point.
Just because if something happened, I've heard their coaches back home, and then if the kid is hurt, I feel like I'm obligated to take them because they got hurt on my watch, and so they can. But when I say a workout, at the end of seasons, we have tryouts.
Yep.
They can come and work out then. There's different showcases that they can be in. I think it's one held here at some point that Coach Collins does.
That all seniors should be at.
All of them, if you haven't signed,
yes.
right? And so I think that those are good opportunities for those kids to come in and get those workouts in. But some of them are so prideful they don't want to do those things.
That's
but
it.
see, pride never got anybody anywhere.
Yep.
It stands in the way. So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm a senior and I don't have the offers, or maybe even if I got a few JUCOs and it's maybe not one I want or whatever, I'm going to every showcase. Like, if anything, it's gonna give me the footage.
Yes.
If anything, I'm gonna get.
And you just never
the
know who's going
footage.
to be there.
You never know.
It could be, I can be sitting there and I know I can't use you, and you at a different school, and I might call you and be like, hey man, I seen this girl, like I'm full at that position, but I thought she could go, she had something to her.
Yeah.
And kids don't realize coaches do talk. Although we're all trying to do the same thing and we're all trying to win, we do have conversations.
Yep.
So word of mouth sometimes is really good for your future.
Yep. And Pete, the thing is, I don't even think they realize, whether that's even for a JUCO, if you're here, you know how many relationships you got with D1 coaches?
Man, one of my kids walked up to me yesterday and said, Coach, you know everybody. And I'm like, well, first of all, this is not my first rodeo, but you make connections throughout your years playing and coaching. So if we total those years up, I'm not going to tell my age, but it's a whole bunch of years, over 20 years of just time being around other coaches.
Yep.
At some level, and they do call us, Coach, you seen the kid, or you have a kid on your team. Like, I have Power 5 coaches. They be like, Coach, do you have a point guard for me? I'm like, I might.
Yeah, maybe.
Wait till December. Let me see how much she gonna retain while she here, But they're going to call because they have to. They don't want to miss.
Yeah.
As a coach, you're looking under rocks, you're looking under sheds, you're looking in wherever you have to look to find these kids. And so if I come to a high school and I see a kid and that Division I coach called me, I'm like, Coach, I want this kid, but
yes,
she's good enough for y'all. And now it's that coach's job to make that connection.
Right.
But we definitely talk to each other on all levels.
Yep.
And it's funny to me because when you have a kid on your team, them school's your best friend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, wait, you know me? What? You know? And so they're like, oh, Coach, I got to get such and such. And I'm like, oh, now you need such and such, And so it's a revolving door.
Yep.
Whether you're a high school coach or a junior college coach. Because on my end, I'm trying to get mine out and I'm trying to get new ones in.
Yes.
So it's work around the clock, 365 days a week. A year.
Yep. And you had a lot of events.
For sure.
With that, you see a lot of parents. I want to go to these parents real quick. What advice would you give to these AAU parents as they help navigate their child's basketball journey?
To actually navigate it and not trust somebody else to do it.
Oh, that's deep right there.
Because you've made this investment. This is your child. They represent you. It's your pocket that's going to be affected. So don't let an AAU coach or any coach or any person talk you out of more money. And I say that because they're talking you out of this scholarship, like you said, D-free, right?
But you're paying it.
But you paid it by sending them to these tournaments.
Yeah.
So invest in your child future, as in you go on these visits, you talk to these coaches, you make sure that your kid is prepped to talk to these coaches. Because some of these kids hide behind these phones and they only know how to text.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to have conversations. So you need to sit down with your children and have these conversations. Hey, when we go to X school this weekend, you need to have 4 questions that you want to ask this coach. Have 3 questions that you want to ask the team. But it has to be some dialogue between the kid, not the parent, the kid and the program.
Right. Yep.
I don't mind talking to parents. I actually love talking to parents. But when it's time for me to talk to the kid, I want to be able to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because you're not coming to school with them.
Yep.
They're coming alone.
Yep.
So I need to be able to know that myself and this kid can have a conversation and that they're able to hold a conversation.
Yep.
You know, and so as a parent, like I said, you actually be the one navigating what's going on. I'm not saying you can't take advice. I'm not saying that all AAU coaches are bad. I'm not saying any of that. Some of them are really good, and they do a really good job of advocating for that kid. But still, the AAU coach isn't coming to school with that kid either.
Right.
And when something goes wrong, that kid is probably going to call mama, not AAU coach.
Right.
And so you want to be as instrumental in this process as you can, but you also want to make sure that your kid is advocating and being instrumental for themselves because we're recruiting the kid.
Yeah.
When I get a kid and I'm like, fill out your FAFSA, and they looking at me crazy,
Ooh.
and they like, well, my mama did it, so let me call her. That grinds my gears. You need to know how to get into your own FAFSA.
Some of them don't even know what that is.
What it stands for.
What it stands
You
for,
know,
nothing.
you need to know how to log into your own application online. So parents, as you're going through these processes of either helping them get recruited or when they actually sign and they're doing all the paperwork and stuff, make sure the kid is present. Because when we get them to school and we ask them to sign back into this stuff and they can't or they have no idea, it's hard because you're at work or you're wherever you are, and we can't just keep calling you.
Right.
So as instrumental as you are, make sure that kid is a part of the process as well.
Yep. Now, let's talk to those parents who, at the end of the day, they want what's best for their kid. They're trying to help navigate it, but they didn't play basketball. They didn't go to college. They don't know, you know, who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, who's taking me for my money, and who's actually giving solid advice. Like, how can we help them with that? That parent who does truly want to do what's best for their kid and just don't know how.
For sure. As I said, as coaches, they need to talk to other parents whose kids have been there and done that.
That's it.
You know, because my mom was that parent. She didn't play sports. She didn't know. But I had a best friend at the time who had just went Division I.
Yeah.
You know, and I had other friends who had did X, Y, and Z. So you can't be too prideful, that pride word again, to say, hey, you know what, Miss such and such, I don't really know, but I know you took X through this process last year. What were some of the things that helped you when you were on the visit, or when you had 7 different people telling you 7 different things and you weren't sure who was saying what or who was, like you said, being honest or not? And then your common sense got to kick in just a little bit.
Yeah.
If you went to 4 different schools and 3 kind of sound alike and 1 don't, you know that 1 is probably the one pulling your leg.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And not being afraid to have those hard conversations with those coaches. Like, no, I don't have any questions, I'm good.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's something inside that you
That you
really want to know.
ask, yeah.
And if you don't, you won't know if you don't ask. And if you don't know, be honest with those coaches. You know what, I really don't know. So is there some advice you can? And I will. I tell parents all the time, if they don't talk about this, this, and this, they hiding something.
Yeah.
If they don't let you see this, they hiding something. And I tell mine, when we're on our visits and we're doing our tours, if it's somebody we pass that you would like to stop and talk to, stop and talk to them. Because I'm not afraid of the information you're going to get.
Right.
Go ahead and ask. Obviously, we're taking you to certain people for certain things, but ask the people that we're not taking you to. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And if they try to bring you in late and get you out early, or when the school isn't open, like, some of that is signs of things.
Yeah.
Some of it is just timing of when mama can get off.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's very strategic because it's certain things they're not trying to reveal.
Yeah.
So talk to other parents.
Yeah.
Listen to parents that have had the experience. Talk to a kid that went to a junior college or to a transfer that had to go on a portal. Like, get every example that you can get to talk to so you can know the different avenues that the kids had to take to get to where they were.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. I want to move into Trinity Valley for a second.
Come on. TVCC.
Yes, as we talked earlier, history of winning, have been a part of multiple national championships. And you talked about earlier, like, just the type of kids, like making sure you get the type of kid, you know, to fit what you're looking for. At the end of the day, though, like, yes, that's great, but it's a certain what's the word I want to say? I guess a certain level. Like a championship team, it's a certain type of kid. There are certain things that y'all are doing in the gym. Like, what does a championship team look like?
Well, first of all, the gym has to be loud.
Yeah.
And when I say loud, the kids have to be talking.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be communicating. They have to be purposeful with their
quiet gym is a
conversation.
losing
It's
gym.
a losing gym. And then, like I tell my kids, you know, when you're on defense, they like, "Shall I be feeding you?" Blah, 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 blah. I don't like that.
No.
I just need the ball.
Yeah.
You know, I want you to be very definite
Yeah.
and sure of what you're saying. Because just that repetitive stuff, that's like middle school. That's when you
Yeah.
first learn. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to have a gym that is loud. And I don't mean from music playing, because they love their music.
Yeah.
I mean from actual voices communicating with each other on whatever it is that we're doing. And I don't like for people just to call ball like when they want it.
Yeah.
Call her name so she can know that you're talking to her. She's acknowledging who she's talking to, you know. And I think that creates a culture of less mistakes because we're being purposeful with what we're saying and who we're talking to, you know. And then you also have to have a competitiveness in your gym that is unmatched. Back when we played, we talking noise, you know. You little, you small, we putting you in a bag, barbecue chicken, just some
All
things
that.
that we used to say. Now kids are so soft to that. Oh, girl, she talking about me. You heard what she, I like a little noise talking. You know, it make me feel like we here, you know what I'm saying? And so I like that. And I like it to the point where you can say it and it roll off your back. Or we off the floor and y'all still can go to the dorms and have a good time.
And not be mad at each
and
other.
not be mad and in your feelings
Yeah.
because she was supposed to do you like that. Because you wasn't sitting down playing no defense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we have a competitive spirit with everything we do. We had a challenge where you had to make it from one side of the gym to the other and you couldn't step on the bombs, and just that's competitive. Tying your shoes, that's competitive. Getting to your water, everything has to be created as a competition because you want to have a no-lose mentality.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that not having a quiet gym, being competitive at everything, and then just knowing that there's a standard that you have to hit.
Yeah.
And that you're not okay with not hitting that standard, no matter, again, what it is. If coach said everybody show up in black socks with a red uniform and they red shoes, not one person should be out of line. You know, so you got to create some discipline. Because if you don't have discipline, then when it's time to be disciplined in the game, it's not going to happen. And so I try to relate everything from off the floor to on the floor. And I try to make sure that they understand why. Because these kids will always want to know why.
That's one
Because
thing
why
they
I got to
gonna
do that? So I go ahead and tell them up front, I'm doing this because I'm trying to get this.
Yeah.
And I used to didn't do that. But with this new day and age kid, they need to know the why.
Yeah.
Because back when I wish you would ask your mama why. Or anything that was of authority.
You're not even thinking about it.
You're not. But now it's been created at home that's okay.
Yeah.
So that is an adjustment that I've had to make. This is why we're doing this. And I show them the big picture so that they're not so hesitant to trust the process to get to that picture.
Now, you know one thing I like that you just said, though, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You good.
Is that you make that adjustment.
I did.
Some people, and again, this goes back to the podcast, why it's called It's Just Different, you know, because I get that a lot of like, oh, kids are different, and parents are different.
They
and
are.
you can't tell them nothing, whatever. And I solely believe, like, that's true. But how are you going to adjust? Like,
and I don't do too much adjusting, but it's just certain little things where you got to pick your battles.
you got to pick your battles. Yeah, at the
You
end
got
of
to
the
pick
day.
your battles. And if me showing you the practice plan or me telling you the why helps you get there,
So be it.
here, girl, I don't care. You
Look
know
at
what
this
I'm
practice
saying?
plan.
Like here, you know, and I like to show mine because they swear we be trying to we trying to kill it.
Yeah.
Right? When no, I'm really just trying to get you in shape.
Yeah.
So on my plan, I never run.
Yeah.
That's never on the plan.
Yeah.
But when you done had 4 turnovers and 2 missed box outs,
Ma'am, on that
it's time to
line.
get on the baseline. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing I did. You created this running.
Yeah.
Like, yes, in the preseason, there is scheduled running for conditioning. But outside of that, I would rather be playing basketball because that's how we get better. you know, and so, but that baseline sometimes is a reminder that I got to be better.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yes, I've made a couple adjustments over my years, because when I first started, this is who I am,
And that's
forget
it.
you.
And that's it.
If you don't want, you know, and now it's like, all right, let me make a couple adjustments, because the kids are different. The parents are different. Times are different.
Yeah.
Right? But I want to still win.
Yes.
Like it always has been. So if making an adjustment 2 or 3 is what's going to help us continue the legacy, then let's do that.
Right.
You know, and when you have tenured coaches on your staff, they feel the same way you do. But then you get a new coach, young, 5 This is my first year. They like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because they don't realize how different it is to coach
Yes.
a this day and age kid. It's different. But again, a simple, small adjustment.
For film review, film breakdown sessions, consultations, or even ebooks to help guide you through this thing called basketball, well, I got you covered. Make sure you visit AshleyAnnRoberts.com for all your basketball needs. Make sure you visit Ashley Ann Roberts for all your basketball needs, and let me know how I can help you. Again, AshleyAnnRoberts.com.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
That's it. That's it right there. Now, obviously, you're no stranger to getting kids in college. You know, as you said, you've had over 35 of them. What type of what type of student athlete, I should say, do these college coaches get from Trinity Valley kids?
You're going to get a kid that off the court knows how to carry themselves. They're going to be a kid that has been challenged on a daily to their max. They've been pushed to the limit that they didn't even know they had. They've worked hard more than not worked hard. You're going to get a respectable kid, because we don't play that. You're going to get a kid that is hungry to win, because that's all they're going to know.
Well, I got you covered.
They're going to hate
Make
to
sure you
lose more than
visit
they love to win, because you
AshleyAnnRoberts.com
have to be
for all
like
your
that.
basketball
You're going to also get a kid that's going to say, ooh, Coach P was
Make sure
tough
you
on me,
visit
but they knew
AshleyAnnRoberts
Coach P
for all
loved
your
me.
basketball needs.
And they're going to
Let me
be
know how I can help
expecting
you.
that out of you.
Again,
They expect you to be tough, but they expect you to love on them too.
Yeah.
Because again, this new day and age kid, they have to know that you care about them as an individual.
Have to, or they're going to shut down.
Or they're going to shut down. You're going to get a kid that isn't afraid to be different. Stand out a little bit. Be first when it's time to run. Tell them, hey, we probably shouldn't do that tonight, because we got 6 a.m. workouts. And they don't, not all of them are going to accept all of those challenges, but more so than not.
Yeah.
You know, but some of my kids I only have for 1 year, some I do have for 2. And I would like to say they all are gonna get most of everything I just named.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, I think that all those things are very valuable to a 4-year program.
For sure.
Because you have some kids that are going to be freshmen in those 4-year programs, or what I call cancers. And a kid coming from my program will know how to weed that person out, you know, and you need those kids.
Yeah.
And every coach wants a winner. And every kid that comes in our program is definitely going to have that in their DNA,
Yeah.
or they wouldn't be in our program.
Right.
It's very simple. So, and we stand on that. What the kids say, we're standing on business.
Standing on business.
We stand on business at TVCC, you know, and so I'm very proud of the products that I send to the next level.
Yeah.
Again, every kid has their challenges. I don't have one perfect kid on my roster. They have done something for me to be like, Lord have mercy. But they overcame them, and they were able to push through.
Yeah.
So definitely going to have a tough kid.
I love that. Now, y'all picked first to win conference.
Yes.
And I feel like it's maybe every year. When is the last time you wasn't picked?
I will say in my 5 years here, we were
Yeah.
picked every time. And if I had to guess before that, who knows?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
And it's funny you say that, because I had just told my kids, like, hey, y'all, rankings are coming out soon. And if you're not ready, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
And as soon as I seen the ranking, I took a picture and I sent it over to the team. And I said, there's that target. The target is on your back. You know, when people beat us, it's like they won a national championship. And they celebrate. And it's the craziest thing ever. And I'm like, it's one game.
Yeah.
You know, but I get it. It's because it's the standard.
It's the
Trinity
standard.
Valley is the standard. You know?
Yeah.
And so when you are the standard, you have to know that there is a target on your back at all times.
At all times.
And we national rankings haven't even come out. And who knows where we'll be there, but that's just a bigger target. You know? And so I just like the fact that when I say we're the standard, if they pick you first, then you're the standard. And so you have to be able to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Be okay with knowing that you can't take a night off. Being okay knowing that everybody coming for your head. Be okay with knowing that if you sleep, you're going to fall. You know,
might
and so
get got.
you might get got, absolutely. And we're always going to be super talented, but talent don't always win you the game.
Absolutely.
You got to have the hard work that goes with it.
Yeah.
And if we get outworked any night, whether we win or lose, I'm unhappy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the standard.
Yeah.
Not only with me, but every coach before me. Sometimes just winning isn't always good enough. Sometimes you're supposed to win a certain way. And we talk about that as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm supposed to beat this team by 20 and I win by 3, we're not happy with that because that's not meeting the standard.
Yep.
You know, so like you said, Trinity Valley is just a little different. But I think that's why I love being there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep. Now, how do you, I guess, how do you keep your kids, maybe not even level-headed, but just, because when you are the standard, when you got that target on your back, sometimes that's hard. You know, how do you keep your kids ready for that?
Again, we create that competitive culture in practice. So if I don't let them have a day off even in practice with that spirit, then it becomes a way of life.
Yeah.
And so that keeps them always ready for the next victim, always ready for the next battle, always ready for somebody to swing and try to knock them out. And like I tell them, if you can make it through our practices, because that should be way harder than a game, then you're fine. You're
Yeah.
okay. You're well prepared. You're going to watch film. You're going to know your scout. You're going to know what's expected. You're going to know the goals. Go execute those things.
Yep.
And so we just keep them engaged, and we let them sometimes. Yeah, I might give them a skeleton scout so it has a little bit of information, but them having to do it themselves also keeps them challenged too.
Yeah.
Because now they
You
want
have
to
them
know.
do scout themselves.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because now they want to know is this going to be good enough for coach? Yeah, we think this is the one. Coach going to really like this scout. So that becomes a challenge in the game, you know what I'm saying? So just keeping them engaged and making them feel like they have some type of thumbprint on their success keeps their minds happy.
I got 2 books. One called The Little Girl with Big Dreams, about an ambitious little girl who overcomes every no to say yes to her dream. And another called Changing Lanes, using sports as a vehicle to drive success on and off the court. If you're looking for a good book to read, make sure you check both of them out at ashleyanroberts.com.
So 2-part question. What makes you different and or what makes Trinity Valley different?
I'll answer both. Trinity Valley obviously is different because of all the things we've talked about during this podcast, and just the 8 banners that are hanging in our gym. It's not another junior college D1 that has 8 banners hanging. It's not another program that has a Kurt Bucky that started the program. It's not another program that has multiple All-Americans that went on to play at the next level, that have several WNBA players and overseas players. I think that's what makes them different. And then the support and the community that you get out of that small town is unmatched. It's unmatched. You'll go to an away game and see more red in the bleachers than blue, and the other school we playing is blue. So that makes them different. And as far as me, I'm a JUCO product, and I feel like I'm different because of how I bring what I bring to the table, but I'm not afraid to let the kids bring what they bring to the table. So like I said earlier, so they thumbprint can be on it too. So I think what makes that different is a lot of coaches want the glory. I want the story. The kids can have the glory.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
That's it.
We can't end it.
I just want the story.
Man.
The kids get all the glory.
Man, I love it. This has been a great episode.
I appreciate you. This has been my first podcast, so I didn't really know what to expect, but you've been amazing.
Yeah,
Good
I
host.
appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
It just felt like so free-flowing.
It was. It's like just a conversation with a microphone.
That's it. That's it. Make sure y'all keep up with Trinity Valley. Make sure you follow the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Apple, Spotify. And if you're not following the page, I don't know what you're doing at this point. Follow
You
the
sleep.
page.
Wake up.
Please.
Wake up.
It's just different pod.